Good morning and happy Saturday. We're starting off the 8 a.m. hour with a live look across Colorado this morning. It is a weekend of polar opposite weather concerns colliding, and that weather has started to move into our area, from snow squalls to the wind, bringing with it fire danger. Right now, a fire already burning near the Everest steel mill outside the city of Pueblo. In this video, you see all of the smoke that was coming out of it. Everyone working at that mill yesterday was safely evacuated. The city had to issue a shelter in place for the surrounding area because of poor air quality conditions. Meanwhile, people also had to evacuate because of this fire burning northeast of Pueblo. This is a time-lapse video of the Vision Hills fire. Burned more than 80 acres and is 80% contained at last check. We do have a little good news, though. The fires at Fox Hollow Golf Course in Lakewood are fully contained. West Metro Fire says that there was a total of 7 fires set on Thursday, ended up burning about 3 acres. One man was taken into custody and is expected to be charged with arson. But on a day like today, whether it's intentional or not, this is a dangerous day for any kind of fire. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Anusha Roy. Before we're going to get to Chris Bianchi, we want to give you a little bit more context on what we're facing today. This weekend is actually the strongest windstorm since the one that fueled the Marshall Fire. The wind event is called a Bora, and it can produce gusts stronger than 100 miles per hour. This time, though, the wind event is colder and the air is more humid. That is a good thing when it comes to fires and containing it if they do start. But if there is a fire that does start today, that wind, it turns into a challenging enemy to put that fire out. With everything we just said, we are also tracking snow in the mountains this morning. You can see it falling along I-70 right now. We were looking at traffic that was backed up over the last 2 hours or so. These are not fun driving conditions. Mountain snow squalls are going to be the major issue this morning. And Chris, while the driving is not great conditions, actually any kind of rain or snow we can get is going to be welcome.
Yeah, so there's really, Anusha, I know we just gave you a lot of information there. There's really 2 things to focus in on. One, it's those winds. Those winds later on today and tonight. I'm starting to see some of those signs that those winds are ramping up for us in the Denver area right now. But those winds, this is going to perhaps be our strongest front range windstorm in several years. And then number 2, those snow squalls that we're talking about in the mountains right now. Some good news up in the mountains, though. More on that in just a second. But again, this is my point of emphasis. Up to 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts for us here into the Front Range foothills. In Denver, 60 to even 80-mile-an-hour gusts possible. Notice that at the Rocky Mountain Airport just now within the last few minutes, a 52-mile-an-hour wind gust. As we're starting to see those winds fill on in, that Bora setup, that kind of cold, dense, heavy air is filtering down the Front Range mountains. And that means as we head through the day today, think about the Rocky Mountains as basically a kid's slide with all that wind, all that energy flowing down off the Rockies. And that means that those winds will pick up and accelerate as we head through the day today and into tonight. The worst of the wind will probably be after about roughly 1 to 3 p.m. this afternoon until about 6 or 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. So there's going to be about a 12 to 18-hour window where those winds are really just straight up nasty. So just please take this seriously. As I mentioned, perhaps our worst front range wind event in several years. We are seeing some snow in the high country as well. That is dissipating a little bit. That is maybe some good news. We're seeing some rain move its way into the Denver area, and hopefully we get some rain and some snow into the Denver area. I'm going to explain why that rain and perhaps some snow for us in the Denver area could actually be some very good news in terms of today's wind and fire danger threat. All that coming up in my full forecast.
All right, thanks so much for that, Chris. Well, this is a good time to make sure that your phones are charging, because Xcel Energy says with those high winds, they're more likely to shut your power off to decrease the risk of wildfires. Right now, if something hits a power line, it's going to automatically turn off, usually turns right back on. But starting today, crews have to manually restore the power to make sure it is safe to do so. Xcel says about 30,000 customers could be impacted, mostly in Boulder, Gilpin, and Jefferson counties. Now, the winds are tossing the Red Rock schedule up in the air. The venue canceled tonight's show for Damdala. Instead, the show will be moving to Mission Ballroom. Red Rock's ticket holders are being refunded and given special access to a pre-sale for tickets to that show. Sunday's performances by Daybreaker has also been pushed back a week to April 14th. New this morning, officials are investigating an explosion at a 6-unit apartment building in downtown Palisade. One person died in that explosion yesterday morning. You could see that blast from miles away. Officials say the apartment building is a complete and total loss. They say the Red Cross is now helping several people who live there find somewhere else to stay. Right now, a Little League is scrambling just a week before their first practice because all of their equipment was stolen. Organizers for the North Metro Little League say when they went to the field they've used for years, 350-pound metal containers filled with everything they needed to play was missing. Now leaders of the nonprofit league are trying to figure out how to replace it all.
We do everything we can to make sure that it's affordable so anybody who wants to play can. So we don't have money to go out and buy gear for two entire divisions.
The team's first practice is on Monday. Organizers have more than 60 kids signed up, but they don't know if they have what they need to play. Right now, North Metro is accepting donations for equipment. We have more information on how you can help on our story on 9news.com. Want to get to an update for you about Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who wants to replace former Colorado Congressman Ken Buck. She will now be appearing first on the primary ballot for the 4th Congressional District. There are 2 ways to qualify for the ballot in Colorado for Congress: earn 30% or more support at an assembly like the one in Pueblo yesterday, or collect 1,500 valid Republican signatures from the district and submit that petition. Boebert actually ended up doing both, and as the top vote getter, Boebert will also appear first on the ballot for the GOP primary race. Former state lawmaker Ted Harvey failed to get enough support to qualify. He may have challenged Boebert from the far right. So far, the race is between Boebert and conservative talk radio host Deborah Flora. 6 other candidates are waiting to find out if they got enough signatures to make the ballot using that petition process. Former First Lady Melania Trump could return to the campaign trail in a couple of weeks. She is set to appear at a fundraiser event that represents LGBTQ conservatives at Mar-a-Lago. For the most part, Melania has stayed off the campaign trail this year, but recently did tease a return. The fundraising event is expected to be largely behind closed doors. It will be happening on April 20th. Former President Donald Trump's former attorney is asking a judge to reinstate his law license. John Eastman's law license was deactivated last week after a judge ruled that he should be disbarred over his actions for leading some of the former president's efforts to challenge the 2020 election. Right now, Eastman is unable to practice law and is asking to change that to represent Representatives Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene in a political speech fight and also pay his own legal bills. He was also previously hired to work with the Colorado Republican Party. A disciplinary judge has not ruled on his request yet. The Biden administration has finalized a new rule to increase protections for career federal workers. President Biden said the rule fights corruption and partisan interference. It aims to prevent a president from cutting the federal civil service. Days before the 2020 election, Trump signed an executive order for more leeway to hire and fire federal employees who were deemed disloyal. The new rule also helps provide a safeguard for federal employees from, quote, political firings.